Hello and welcome to this repair tutorial, and today we're going to look at a Marantz PM5005. Specifications: the amplifier will provide 45 watts per channel into an 8 ohm speaker load, or that can be increased to 50 watts per channel if you're connecting 4 ohm speakers. At the rear you have two sets of speaker terminals, so that means that from the front you can select speaker set A or speaker set B, or have both sets of speakers on, or again disable them from the front fascia. A headphone socket, which is standard on these series of amplifiers, and total harmonic distortion is 50 Hz to 20 kHz, so that's standard. And in terms of inputs, it supports a phono input, so that's a moving magnet type, and input impedance is 47 kΩ, so that's standard. And voltage range or amplitude signal range would be 2.2 millivolts. And then you can also connect a CD, the tuner. It also has what we term as a network selection, but all that has happened here on the PM5004, that really was an aux input, so they're just termed as your line inputs, and all of them support 200 millivolts at 20 kΩ for input impedance. And then you can also have record 1 and record 2. And then weight for the amplifier is 6.7 kilograms, and dimensions standard 105 height wise, width 440, and then depth at 370 millimeters. And overall a good amplifier, very popular, delivers a nice quality of sound. And for this amp, when it came into the workshop, I wouldn't say it was a common fault, but you do see it from time to time. What was happening was, even with no speakers connected and no inputs, volume control at minimum and all the other controls at midpoint, what you found was the heatsink was running warmer than it would normally, and that tends to tell you that the bias for the respective channels is off. And sure enough, that was the fault here. So you can see in the video what I'm showing is the multimeter, which is connected then to the test point. And what I read was, on initial power up, it went up probably to about 37 millivolts, and then probably after about 10 minutes you could see this was increasing then to about 40 plus millivolts. And I had the dim bulb tester in series with it, so of course if the outputs were overdriven, then any sort of malfunction that would be caught before that happened. But if it was powered up directly, then you can imagine that the current flowing through the output transistors would be even greater, and you're probably measuring maybe in the order of plus 50 millivolts. So it was no wonder that the amplifier was running excessively warm. And the same for both channels, which is a little bit unusual, and I appreciate that over time the bias setting needs to be reset because components drift, but this was almost as if it had been incorrectly aligned during factory and final production and test then. So what I've done is I'm showing here the output stage, and this is just one of the output stages, and just really to highlight to you the test points. So what you have on the circuit board is this one is referred to as the 6003, which is just one of the test points, and there's 3 connections on there. Now for the workshop I have multiple connectors. Sometimes they're 2 pins, sometimes they're 3 pin, and you can just connect into there and then put your multimeter in parallel. And what you're measuring, as you can see from the schematic, the output channels or the output transistors Q131 and Q132. So 131 is an NPN type transistor, and then 132 being the PNP. And you can see the 2 sets of emitter resistors there, so said 0.22 ohms and 5 watts each. And then electronically or electrically, the test point then is just connected in parallel. So as the current flows through the output transistors, of course the current will flow in series then with the emitter resistors, and what we're interested to see is what is the voltage drop across there, and we must accurately set that to 20 millivolts. So no wonder, as I said, it was running excessively warm. And then what you'll see is you have preset, and here you have VR, I think it's VR, V6001, and that's a 2.2K preset which is mounted on the board. Now I've spoken about this in the past on previous tutorials, when you're in this situation where you need to adjust the bias and the amplifier, is coming to the workshop, don't sort of just adjust it. And what I mean here is it's always beneficial to clean it first, because you just get oxidization on the contacts, and then it can sometimes make adjustment quite difficult. And you might even find that if it's never been adjusted since factory, literally as you move it, it almost sort of cracks off its fixed point, because it's sort of been in the same point literally for maybe decades. So what I do here is I just depower the amplifier, and then I'll apply some deoxit spray, and then I'll just rotate the trimmer backwards and forwards a number of times just to clean that track off. But I'm just remembering the point where it was before, and then I just move it then to, often it should be just off from midpoint, and then I can then power up the amplifier, probably 5 or 6 minutes, and then you can do the initial setup, and maybe you adjust that then for 18 millivolts, and then after about 15-20 minutes the amplifier should be fully stabilized, and it's a simple matter then of just adjusting that bias trimmer until you reach the desired millivolts. For the 5005, as we said, it will be set to 20 millivolts, and then you can leave the amplifier running. Again, this would be done with no speakers, volume control at minimum, and all the user controls at midpoint, and then I just run it through just on test, and normally after about an hour to 2 hours I'll double check it, maybe just a slight adjustment, and then everything else is fine. So really not an in-depth sort of repair, and not really a repair as such, just more of an alignment for this amplifier. But as insight, if you are going to be doing this work, normally power up via the dim-board tester for initial measurement, make sure there's no underlying fault that's causing that high bias, and once you adjust it back to factory, you just need to ensure that it's nice and stable, that you don't have any instability in the channel. And for this amplifier, once it was readjusted, you could feel that the heat sinks then are returned back to normal temperature, and the output transistors were not being over biased then. Alright, so that sort of brings us to the end of this one. So I thank you for just stopping by, and if you've got any questions, by all means email audioamplifierservicing@aol.com, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. Alright, take care of yourself. Thank you and goodbye.